Joining the medium games finals for Game 4, Kubu versus Koehni. Let's see what we've got here. What do you think, Sander?
Yeah, we've got. I mean, the first thing that jumps out at me is cultists. We've got those three attacks in the top right. So cultist is always a polarizing card, and especially when you can get Villa on board too. It seems pretty strong here. That's kind of the first thing that jumps out to me that I want to go for. Is there any trashing, or is Miser really the only way
Yeah,
to?
Miser's really the only way to thin coppers. What I'm looking at is Sheepdog and how that interacts with Cultist.
Hmm.
I'm also looking at
Sheepdog seems really good,
how
right?
Sheepdog interacts with Ironworks. And if you buy a Villa, you can react the Sheepdog from hand non-terminally to draw and continue your turn on. So I think you still have to do Cultist stuff because the runes are just annoying, but I think the 4-3 player could open Ironworks Cargo Ship or Ironworks Sheepdog and feel pretty good about their chances. Maybe you get Ironworks Sheepdog just to hope to react it that first shuffle. And Ironworks can gain Villa, it can gain ports, it can gain just more Sheepdogs.
Yeah, especially when you see your opponent opening with a cultist here as player two, I think you probably do try to high roll with the Ironwork Sheepdog, even though you can be kind of sad if you run the Sheepdog in turn three, but not the Ironworks. That could go badly. But
Yeah, you can
I
always play the Sheepdog and buy a Villa, or yeah, and then Ironworks for another Sheepdog, or you can just discard the Sheepdog to Arena. I guess Arena is a mild counter to Cultist. It's not like a strong counter, but you get
yeah, you pick up a 3 VP, but boy, your deck sure gets jumped. Yeah, I'm not sure what Tony would be thinking about here. I don't know. I mean, you just got to go for the cultists. There's no way you can deal with these ruins.
yeah. So Arska boy, thinking Tormentor. Tormentor on turn 1 is nice because you play it on turn 3 or 4. You gain an imp, and then with Villa you can even gain imps throughout the game with Tormentor, um, which is
Yeah, again, I mean, cultist is just so strong here.
yeah. I agree. I think Sheepdog Ironworks, but Cargo Ship Ironworks is interesting too because you can potentially gain. If you see Cargo Ship turn 3, you could potentially gain a Cultist turn 3 and play it turn 4.
Mm, yeah, that could be
Um,
nice.
so Kubu gets the Cargo Ship Ironworks, and they're just gonna gain some Sheepdogs, and we're gonna see Kubu get themselves a Cultist here. Villa is interesting here because Cultist Villa, if you don't have any runes yourself, the Cultist Villa thing can work. You play all your Cultists, then you buy a Villa, and then you could play your Ironworks, your other actions, right? Gain in Farming Village, whatever, play that. Fishing Village, play that. The If you have 5 runes, if both players have 5 runes in their deck, then actually drawing the 4 money can be tough. Um, but maybe you just try to get a couple fishing villages, and then that kind of solves that problem.
This is an interesting build here from Coney.
They take a
Um,
miser.
yeah, I don't know that Miser is. I mean, I feel like you just want all the sheepdogs on three or less here, or maybe even four or less. Ironworksing for a single port is kind of strange too, isn't it?
Yeah. Um, I think I would prefer fishing village. Seems a lot better with cultists around. When you're doing a cultist stack, having a fishing village seems quite nice. Um, that port buy makes a lot of sense there with the cargo ship, obviously. So the other thing to note is that Miser does not play well with cultist dead draw Villa, for whatever that's worth.
Right, that's right. I didn't even think about that aspect, but that's very true.
We're also seeing Kubu has a 6 point lead now with Arena, which is not,
Oh,
you know, really an indicator of the score, but it is something at least.
yeah, it could be relevant for sure.
Yeah, I think if I'm doing Ironworks, I'm going to Ironworks for Fishing Village here almost every time. Um, just with all the terminal draw cards I'm going to have in the deck, and then
As opposed to more sheepdogs.
Yeah. Oh, they're taking ports. Not quite sure I believe in it. Yeah, but we're seeing
Hmm.
there, yeah, Kubu gave out 2 runes but didn't hit 4, so the rest of their turn kind of was a dud. So we could
I want more sheepdogs here. I guess the sheepdogs aren't quite as good once the ruins run, but
with Villa you can do stuff with them though too.
yeah,
Um,
it's gonna be. I guess, especially with for the miser player, it is gonna be hard to hit four.
yeah, I support I guess this decision to gain a Villa so that you can top deck you can set aside a cultist, especially with another one coming into play. I still really want fishing villages from both players. What just happened?
Play the survivors, maybe. No, sure what
Okay,
happened.
well, we did find 4 money, so we can buy a villa. Again, the villas are not great for the deck either, but
Oh, they're not. But
I think I
you
want
take them
a fishing village and a sheepdog here.
like that. Yeah. Or even two sheepdogs.
Yeah, 2 sheepdogs does not seem
Got a
terrible.
lot of villages now, but it does get a little rough when you start with two sheepdogs without a village in hand.
Yeah, and the runes are gone, so the sheepdog gains are going to be harder to come by.
Right.
Yeah,
Come
Kuni.
on, five and two buys. Another cultist. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's your draw here, right? Even though those
Yeah,
ruins are gone.
yeah. These decks are having very alternating good and bad turns.
Right.
At some point, someone's going to line up like an Ironworks sheepdog thing and have like a huge turn and maybe be able to set up. Um, I think they should have played the sheepdog first there.
Right. That way you have a better chance of chaining cultists.
Yeah. And here I think this is the spot for the fishing village on the cargo ship so we can get it down for next turn.
Okay.
Um, at least that makes sense to me because.
Yeah, ports are fine too, but the duration village sure nice.
Okay, so how do we do this? I think we play.
Ironworks first.
Yeah, I guess this order worked out.
Oh, now you can't play the. I guess you can play the cultist, but it's gonna draw it dead.
Yeah, so now we have to buy another villa, which activates the sheepdog, and now I think we stop. Mm,
Okay.
okay.
Well, we're drawing. We got all these sheepdogs.
Yeah, might as well play one. I don't really see much reason not to play one.
Hey, they're
Well,
almost getting through their deck.
we drew deck and
Oh, that's cool.
we hit 5.
Yeah, we hit five.
Uh Cultist, I guess. Add more
Think another
draw.
cultist. Think another cultist.
Or sheepdog. One of those 2 cards seems good.
Yeah. I think I still want draw, even though their money's a little. And I think I still want draw.
I'm really worried about draw here. They added another villa that turn. Um, so draws the thing.
Yeah.
I think. Did
For
Coney lose the?
Ironworks,
Coney lost the rune split 7-3. It looks like. Because they went for the miser. The miser's at 3 right now. That's very sad. Um,
yeah. And getting the coppers out of your deck at the expense of putting ruins into them is not a good trade off.
yeah.
Dog?
Yeah,
Gotta
sheepdog.
start looking at piles here, right? Oh,
Ah,
we're getting.
I've got a
I
4 point
guess it's
lead. It's
Kubu.
Kubu. I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
worried.
Kubu. Yeah, that's true.
Ironworks is
You go for the second Ironworks.
yeah. Ironworks does about what another sheepdog does because Ironworks can gain another sheepdog and activate it. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, that's reasonable.
boy, these decks are sad though.
Province here as they didn't play they played an abandoned mine instead of a miser. What's the thinking there?
This order, I guess, is what they were thinking.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that that did much.
They got their tavern mat up to 4. I think like your misers aren't really good until they're up to like 6. This is nice that they're going to have a huge duration draw here. And this, I think I'm going to ask them to say Ironworks for Fishing Village here. I'd really like to start my turns at the Fishing Village because there are some kind of sad deck states you can get into. If you top deck like all your Sheepdogs, then they're out of the shuffle, and then you don't hit 4 because you have almost no treasures in your deck.
Right.
And we can track what those 6 cards are.
It's close to
Mostly coppers. Mostly coppers in those 6 cards.
This is close to a win.
Yeah.
They didn't iron.
Kubu got the, is in a spot where like Ruined Library would be a better, or Survivors would be so much better than Ruined Villager Market.
Yeah. They did get the worst of the ruins.
So I can believe in Cultist. I can't. No. So those 5 cards are very bad, right? So 3 coppers down there. What else is down there? 3 coppers, port. Yeah, I think Province.
Province is better than the.
So they are able to top deck a port, basically, with the cargo ship. So maybe that line's okay. They're adding another draw card into this shuffle. So this is a spot where you can stop and think. You can buy a copper there. You'd have to do Copper Villa, I guess, which is probably not worth it.
Ironworks for an estate here to try to keep the turn going.
Yeah, so my concern is we've seen a lot of our villages. Looks like Koehni's resigning here.
Sounds like it. See.
You're really supposed to resign after you say something like that, right?
Yeah.
9-point lead. I think you could take the ports here. I think you can take 2 ports here. Villa and Sheepdog.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, just for people watching or listening to this, or for Koehni, if you're watching this later, when you say something like that, it usually indicates that, hey, you played better than me this game. Your deck's better. I'm going to resign now. If I'm playing against you and I see you say something like that, I'm like, oh, the reason they're saying that is they must be resigning. So I'll just stop now and stop thinking, and not commit any more mental activity to the game because you've committed to losing.
Yeah.
You committed to resigning.
Yeah.
You could say like, man, this miser stuff. You could say something, but yeah, normally these players aren't chatty either during the game. Some players are chatty during the game. So like these players are only talking to each other at the ends of every game, right? So every message previously has either been before the match started or right as the game ended. So when you say a message like that, you expect the game to be ending. And like sometimes players are very chatty and talking during matches, which surely 5-2 in Cultist was better, but and Kubu didn't get the awesome draws that you can get with the Sheepdogs. And now they just need to find 2 more money, which is not trivial here apparently. But we got there in the end.
Did we? Oh yeah, there we go.
We could have Ironworks for something as well. But yeah, I think the miser was a mistake. And if they'd just gone for more Cultists, Sheepdogs, I was impressed that they were able to draw a deck, but part of that was because they didn't have as many runes, and they got a lot of Sheepdogs and ports. And if Koehni had done the same build, I think they were ahead or in the early game. So it's a tie game, and we move on to game 5.